Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Armchair Quarterback. We're going to be talking about 5 players that are being overrated going into the 2018 fantasy football season. So we're going to start with number 5, and that's going to be Lamar Miller of the Houston Texans. So he had a pretty consistent year, but it wasn't a very good year at that. He did not have a single game with over 100 rushing yards, and he's not really involved in the passing game that much. Plus, he only had 3.7 yards per carry, so that's not that great. And with Dante Foreman being there, I think he's going to start to take over from Lamar Miller, as I believe he's the future in that Houston running game. And so he had a good year, and so I think he'll start taking away carries from Lamar Miller. It might not fully happen this upcoming season, but I don't think Lamar Miller is worth an early pick. He might be an okay flex option, but unless he's going late, then I'm going to avoid him in drafts for the 2018 fantasy football season. And so for number 4, we are going to go with Julio Jones, who is a pretty talented receiver. We all know that. However, I think he's being overrated in drafts, as he'll probably go in the first round of drafts this year. And so I don't think he's worth a first round pick. Obviously, he's a great player, but he only had 3 touchdowns this year, and that's obviously not enough for a first-round pick, and so he might improve. However, with him going that early, I'm going to avoid him this year, and I think he's being overrated. However, if he dropped to maybe the 2nd or 3rd round, I would definitely pick him up if he's the best available, but for now, I'm going to avoid him in 2018. And for my number 3 player to avoid, I'm going to go with Jordan Reed, who this one's pretty self-explanatory. He's a very talented NFL player. However, he can't stay healthy. In his career, he has not played a 16-game season, and last season he played 6 games. So that's obviously not enough to be fantasy relevant. If he was somehow able to stay healthy, he'd be worth it, because he's obviously a part of that passing game in Washington, but just not worth the risk. And so you might consider picking him up when the tight end position is getting a bit slim, but I'm going to avoid him this year. At number 2, I'm going to go with Amari Cooper, who obviously gets a lot of volume in that Oakland Raiders passing game. However, the guy's got butterfingers, so it's just not worth the pickup at this point. If it weren't for that huge game where he had over 200 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns, he would have had a terrible year, and even with that game, he didn't have a good year. So I'm done taking chances on Amari Cooper. He just has too many drops. And so, yes, we might see some improvement with him and Oakland Raiders in this upcoming season. But again, I think he'll probably go pretty early just based on his volume. But I still don't think he's going to be worth it. And so I'm not going to take him. And I think he's overrated in this upcoming fantasy football season. And at number 1, I'm going to go with, this might be a bit of a surprise, but I'm going to go with Tom Brady at the number 1 player to avoid, overrated player in the upcoming 2018 fantasy football season. And I just don't think Tom Brady is worth where he'll probably end up going, which is going to probably be in the top 3 of quarterbacks. And so let's just think about this. I know he's the greatest of all time, and yes, he's Tom Brady, I know. But he's getting old. He's going to be 41 at the start of next season, and he's had a bit of a drop-off in fantasy relevance in the past few seasons. He averaged over 21 fantasy points per season 2 years ago, and then last season it dropped to 18 fantasy points, and there's no reason to think that that won't drop again. So I don't think he's worth a top 3 quarterback pick. Yes, he'll have Julian Edelman back, which should help his production, but he's getting older. And yeah, I just don't think he'll be worth that pick. However, if he drops super late and he's like the 10th QB taken, definitely take him, because he'll always be a QB1 until he retires. But I think there's a few better quarterback options on the table in the 2018 fantasy football season. But that's going to do it for this video. Thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully you agree with my list. If you don't, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to hear any feedback or criticism. And let me know what you want to see next, what kind of video. Top 5 running backs, for example. Maybe you want to see that. Let me know in the comments. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. See ya.